Sure everything's setting up. Hey, everybody on Instagram and hey, everybody on YouTube. All right. We're just waiting for more people to join. Sent out a little alert on YouTube. So, YouTube people are going to be hearing Wendy's voice, but only seeing my lovely face. And Instagram people are going to be seeing both. Thank you for joining on YouTube. Wendy already mentioned we're going to be talking about oneness. We're going to be talking about consciousness. We're going to be talking about many things. Yes, Wendy?
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm so excited. How do I get all of these alerts off my face? Okay, I guess that did that. Let's promote ourselves a little bit first, Wendy. How about that? Tell everybody what you do.
So I am a farmer by day. I guess I call myself a mystic. the labels are kind of restricting sometimes, but I have a podcast where I interview people about their awakening journeys. And I just started a mystery school where I talk about these sorts of subjects and go into esoteric lessons, I guess you could say, just to try to help us get back to this point of oneness that we're going to talk about today.
Beautiful. Thank you. And I am myself a psychic medium, a direct messenger for spirit. You'll find me on all my social media. If you're already joining now, you probably know a little bit about me. I also have a podcast called Linking to the Afterlife, which is available on all streaming services. Yours too, Wendy, right? Light Always Wins is available everywhere.
Yeah.
I do readings for guests on the show. If you'd like to be on the show, you can certainly do that. It is a free reading, agreeing to be on the podcast and share your loved ones with us or your past lives with us. So you can reach out to either of us through any of these channels or send me an email or Wendy an email and we'll hook you up. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. So again, everybody on Instagram, I am also live on YouTube. So you'll see my head go up and down a little bit. But we love that everybody has joined so far. And we're going to get started by talking about, Wendy, how you and I got together and how our minds have been blown for the last 6 days.
Yeah. So my friend Megma, who is Ego Alchemist on Instagram, she sent me a reel of Donna. And I said, I really love this lady's energy. And I went and followed you. And then I saw you had a podcast. And of course, I got excited about that. So I started listening. And I really liked your readings. So then I booked a reading. And I already had in my mind, I was like, I wonder if this woman could be my mentor, you know? But I was like, let's see, like, let's feel this out. And yeah, so I booked a reading and I loved it. And then I asked you to be on the podcast. And then when we got together on the podcast, it was like,
a lot happened on that podcast. And if you know me, if you're familiar with my work, being a direct messenger for spirit, typically when I have a conversation with them, with anyone, I'm being led by spirit. So as we went through the podcast, there were some things coming out of my mouth and you heard me say afterwards, all right, that's the first time I've ever said that. Didn't know where it came from, obviously spirit led, but it was such a profound comments that Wendy and I just kept going with it, going with that flow. And we talked about flow, actually. We talked about a filter that we all move through in each lifetime. And some of the filter is clogged, but yet there's always a drip, drip, drip that comes through. And now maybe in this new paradigm, we are being invited not to have to go through the filter, but to stay on the top of that water and spill over and share.
Yeah.
And I love the way that happened. If you haven't heard our podcast together, what did you title that one? It's available now. What did you title that podcast?
Vibrating in the Oneness with Donna Boyle.
Vibrating in the Oneness on Light Always Wins. So everybody on YouTube, Light Always Wins is the name of Wendy's podcast. After that podcast, which was someday last week, right? What's today? Friday? It wasn't this week. It was last week.
It was. Yeah, we got together Friday.
Oh, today's Monday. Today's Monday.
Yeah. You just went there. You're still there right now.
One of my biggest challenges. What day is it? The day after the actual podcast recording, I went on my typical walk where I normally go. And I'll say it one more time. If you know me, you know that Abraham Lincoln and JFK are two of my spirit guides. And they are the type of spirit guides that play off each other. When they come to me, they always have to come together. And as I was on that walk, first of all, I had to be detoured by my car detoured. So I had to go down a different way and get into this parking lot that I parked to go on this walk that I've been going on for a year down by the river. But I never really went down the road that runs parallel to the river. But because of the detour, I walked a little bit further that day. And I was saying in my head, I haven't heard from Lincoln in a while. I wonder what Abe's doing. Should I ask? And then I said, nah. If it's meant to be, he'll send it now. He's already hearing me question. And within 2 minutes, I saw a sign that I had never seen before. And the sign was Lincoln Auto. And I posted a video about it on my Instagram and my YouTube saying just that. Well, now I wonder if JFK is going to come around, because typically the next day or that night, JFK will come around. So I was basking in the Lincoln love. And Wendy the next day sent me, and as if I don't have to say it again, Wendy and I just met that week. We had a reading a couple weeks before, but we just met on her podcast just last week. So the next day, she sent me a picture of this with the caption, guess what I just found in the closet I was cleaning out? And for YouTube, she's holding up a postcard with JFK and little arrows about where he was shot, where the motorcade was. It's a postcard. So I immediately text her back. Dallas, Texas. I immediately text her back, what is happening here? And Wendy, go ahead, finish that story.
I was cleaning out my closet.
Literally, we have been cleaning out our closets.
Yeah, and this just happened because we got some new lights in our kitchen, and the electricians had to get in the attic. And to get in the attic in this 200-year-old house, you have to go through a closet, and you have to take all the shelves out. So I had to take everything out. And before I wanted to put the stuff back in, there was stuff in there that I haven't looked at in years. Boxes of stuff. And I was like, all right, I'm not putting all of this back. I need to clean this out. So I'm going through the boxes and finding all these old pictures and mementos and just little things I kept. And I come across the JFK postcard, and I'm like, what? And I keep going through, and look who pops up next.
And the next postcard she picks up is an Illinois postcard with, what was that, from the 80s, Alf?
Yeah,
do you remember
1987.
1987. Alf, if everybody doesn't remember him, was like a puppet. He had his own TV show. It was called Alf, and he was an alien. And I'll say one more time, in case you don't know me, I am also connected to the star races, as is Wendy. So now she sends me the second one on Lincoln, and I'm texting her back going, all right, you may not know this, but now we are connected in so many other ways. And Wendy, were you just not hearing the metaphorical connection between cleaning out the closet, the stuff that's coming out of the closet, your need not to put anything back in the stuff to put back in the closet? Because you said, you just said, I didn't want to put it back in all this stuff.
Yes. And that metaphor for me personally aligns with coming out of the spiritual closet, like being my whole true self, just not hiding anything, you know, not meaning that I have to talk about it all the time with everybody, but just meaning there's nothing I'm hiding behind anymore.
To yourself as well as others.
Yeah, to other people. Yeah.
I love the way that, as you were saying about the closet, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's literally what both of us are doing now, more and more. And what the filter had to do with that also. I don't feel the need to have to go through all this stuff anymore to spill over and become who I truly am as a soul here, which leads us to really everything we were meant when we wanted to do this live event on consciousness and the oneness and the dimensions of consciousness. Let me just state right now for everybody who's joined, thank you so much. Both of us, thank you so much for joining both these live streams. And both of them will be available on YouTube. We are saving it, and also on Instagram. You'll be able to see it and hear it. I think what's been coming to me, because Wendy's been texting me every day saying, you're not going to believe this, you're not going to believe this. And I'm like, welcome to my world. Come on in. The water's fine. So what I do in my readings, really, and the events that I hold, is turn a switch on for my guests or my clients. You already know all of this. I just turn that light on for you to say, oh yeah, I feel it. And it's been happening to Wendy for the last week or so, as I know it's been happening to many of my clients and guests, that's how this works. A switch gets turned on and you start to see more, know more, feel more. It's not intense, right? Wendy, you wouldn't say it's intense like the old ways of processing.
No, it was subtle, but very welcome kind of change, I would say. It was just feels more aligned. I don't know how else to describe it.
You've been feeling your own expansion into a different stage of consciousness or dimension.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with what came to me last night, because I'm the sort of person, Wendy, you've heard me say this, if a word doesn't resonate with me, I won't use it. If I can't explain it, I won't use it. If a phrase doesn't work for me, I won't use it. But I won't explain why until I can figure it out myself. And for the years I've been training to be a medium, they've always said you need to raise your vibration. You need to raise your vibration. That never sat well with me. And what I've been recognizing is, why doesn't it set well with me? It doesn't set well with me because there's duality there. If I raise my vibration, it means the vibration I had prior was low. So there's high and low, there's duality. So in that regard, as I'm telling myself, I need to raise my vibration, I need to raise my vibration, I'm telling myself, I'm judging myself that where I wasn't a good place. And I don't like the words good, bad, right, wrong. So last night I started thinking, well, okay, now I understand why raising the vibration doesn't work for me. We aren't raising our vibration. We are expanding our vibration. You agree?
I would say not just that. It's expanding. It's an expansion of awareness. Right?
Yep.
It's both.
It's both. It's expansion. And expansion is, you have to expand everything. And I was noticing as I post on social media, the hashtags that I use, they're typically different every time as I'm running through really quickly. But there's one that always gets in my posts, and that's awareness. Hashtag awareness. Because that is one of the biggest things that we have to practice here, that we're meant to practice here, is the awareness of everything. Our thoughts, our emotions, our body, the feelings in our body, physically and emotionally. So that was big for me last night as I'm jotting a note to myself. Oh, it's expanding our vibration, not raising our vibration. Because raising, if you view it, if you view that word in your head, what are you doing? You're going up, which means before you were down. So I didn't like that at all. Yeah. But if you expand, where's it going? It's going.
Out,
It's
which
going.
is actually how waves work.
There you go.
We have made them, we have perceived them in a 2D form like this, but they actually go out in like a 3-dimensional, and we're not talking about consciousness dimensional, but they actually expand out everywhere.
Right. So for my YouTube followers, Wendy was doing this. If they don't go like this, they go like this. And I started with what? A circle as me, right? My vibration, the circle going out, which for me, the circle is oneness. And the circle is breaking through all the old paradigm thoughts, ways, phrases, words. The circle is breaking through all of that.
I have a drawing I printed out. I don't know if you want me to share it yet, but it relates to what you're saying.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll try to explain it to YouTube because they won't see it.
Okay.
Oh, I love that. So what's that called?
This is the seed of life.
The seed of life, the flower of life, right? We've heard, yes, flower of life. We've heard that many times. So you guys can Google the flower of life. What I love about that symbol is when I worked at the Health Institute. I worked at a health institute in Michigan, and we did lots of raw food. We did lots of detox. We did lots of wheatgrass and green juice. And we had a bottle that we put our water in. It was a vibrational bottle. And at the bottom was the stamp of the tree of life, the circle of life, was that stamp. And that would vibrationally change the water. And that was our knowing at the time. We knew that water could change, vibration could change. So I love that we just hooked that in.
And do you know what you're changing the vibration to?
That's a good question. Go ahead.
This is the shape of and the vibration of creation. So this is in harmony with nature. This is the structure of structured water, which is how it flows through a brook, through natural sources. And with, creation, it just comes back to positive intention and
love. Keep it at love. So she showed the circle of flower of life again, the whole thing there. And I understand that now. I know that now. We weren't just changing the structure of the water, but then we drink that water, which is changing the structure of us, which then keeps going out this way again. Here we go, this way again, which changes our vibration. That's very interesting because now I'm being pulled to this time that I was in an event at some sort of expo, New Life Expo, and we were in a session with a guy who was channeling whoever he channels. I don't remember what he did. And I'm holding this plastic bottle of water, and it's crinkly. And before he started, my daughter was with me. I go to give it to her, and I said, "Put this in your purse, because I don't want to make noise during the event." And she's like, "I'm not putting that in my purse. It's going to spill all over my purse. I'm not putting that in my purse." So I end up holding it, and I held it through the whole channeled message. I never moved my hand. I never crinkled it. Wendy already knows. Wendy's giving me that face right now. She already knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I hold it in my hand, and after the event, we go to leave, my daughter and I. My daughter's driving. I'm in the passenger seat. And I'm eating a muffin or something. And I'm like, oh, that was dry. I got to drink water. I go to unscrew the top. She hits a bump and the water spills on my lap. And Wendy, it burned me. It burned my legs. It was so hot. I felt like hot steaming water. And I jump up out of the seat and I'm like, it's burning me, it's burning me. And she's like, what are you talking about? We were in an air-conditioned room. How could it be hot? And I said, I don't know, but that guy and whoever he channeled changed the vibration of this water. We have to drink it now. And she's like, I'm not drinking it. You just said it was burning. I said, no, we're drinking it. I drank half and she drank the other half.
I love how that came through for you. I was not expecting it to be hot, but I was expecting to hear about how all of the energy was then in the water.
Yep, that happened. All of the energy was in the water. And this was early on in my days as a medium. So I was understanding, but I wasn't knowing. Understanding. I was halfway there, but I wasn't all the way there. My daughter was totally there. She's like, I'm not drinking it. It's hot. And I didn't feel any different. But like we just discussed, it was vibrationally something we both needed to ingest. It's always about water. The filter that we were talking about during your thing was about water too. Always about water.
Well, the reason why is because that's one of the elements of ether. That's one of the key elements. And so if you think about the air around us, there's moisture in the air. So your energy impresses that moisture, which vibrates out around you and affects other people's fields, especially if it's in harmony. So if it's discordant and fractured and chaotic, it's more easily overcome by a harmonious vibration, because that's within natural law. That's coming into alignment.
So now I understand that more. I mean, I always knew it. Now I'm just, and Wendy and I were just talking about this prior to. I explain things one way and experience things one way. And that's what I love about Wendy right now. She's bringing in a whole other dimension of my knowing already and the way that I teach. You always then want to vibrate your oneness with love. Because that's what's changing. And that's how, when you go into a room and you pick up that, I don't like anything dark. So anything that's not love, we'll say it that way. And you might feel that vibration of not love. And it might cause you to say, I can't be in this room. I can't be around this person. That's perfectly okay. No one's asking you to transmute someone else's stuff. It's not ours to do that, which is where we're going to go here now with the dimensions of consciousness, which is what most people talk about when they talk about 3D, 3-dimensional, 4th dimensional, 5 dimension, 6 dimension. So, and I always say, and beyond. However, I've only spoken about the 6th, up until the 6th, because up until a week ago, that's what I was practicing, 6th dimension, flowing in and out of 6th dimension, but 6th dimension, recognizing everything else. But my vibration, as I expanded with love, also expanded the dimensions of 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, so that it will encapsulate all the dimensions. Someone once asked me, if you stay in 6th dimension, will you disappear or will 3rd dimension disappear? And she said, you, like everybody. And in that moment, I totally channeled spirit. I heard the words coming out of my mouth, and they just said, nothing disappears. It only encompasses, it expands to incorporate everything. So I can live very nicely in my 6th dimensional world here on this planet Earth. Some people may see me, some people may not see me in my 6th dimensional vibration or 6th dimensional awareness. How does that resonate with you? Like, do people see you? Because that's common, right? Everybody says, I've heard that many times. Things might disappear if you raise your consciousness. And that doesn't happen.
I've never thought about it that much, but it's very interesting you say that, because I have been in situations where I kind of wanted to go somewhere unnoticed, like say the grocery store.
Yeah.
And I would take deep breaths and just get aligned and be in my zone. Like, this is just me. This is the vibration that I align with, and this is how I'm gonna move through this space. And I swear, it feels like that. It feels like nobody notices you. And it's not that they're not seeing you. I don't know. I don't know what their perspective is. But for me, it feels like people are not seeing me. But I just had a memory of something that happened the day, I think it was the day after you and I talked on the podcast. I went to the grocery store, and this is after experiencing, tons of synchronicities, and I'm just so like in the zone, like feeling good. I get out of the car and I look across the parking lot, and this woman looks over at me, and she's just like smiling so big, and I was like taken back, and I was like, she's feeling it.
Yep. Yep. That's exactly.
Not everybody was doing that. It wasn't like everybody else did it, but we were aligned.
Yep. Absolutely. And it's wonderful to see and feel that. And matter of fact, that happened to me when I was just in New York City. I just caught eyes with someone and we both smiled at each other like a knowing smile. It wasn't just a smile like hello. It was a knowing smile. And as we walked away, I said to my daughter out loud, I'm like, I totally know that woman from somewhere. Like, not meaning Earth, meaning some other place. And she recognized that also. So let's go back to your question. You don't know if they see you. They don't need to interact with anything that's going on in your vibration. There is no interaction. There is no, maybe they don't see or they're so focused, but there's just no interaction. At that moment, you're in a different dimension.
Yeah.
And there's no need for interaction. Yeah.
That is wild to think about, Donna.
Right.
I'm going to have to sit with that. That's kind of, it's blowing my mind for one. And I think it's also, my mind is like, do I want to accept that?
Well, it's part of your growth now as we go into seventh dimension, which is what we're going to talk about, right? I hear what you're saying. Yeah. There was a time I walked into a grocery store, and this busy grocery store, this little boy and his mother had him in the cart. He points at me and he says, Donna. I swear to God, that is what he said. So I go to the woman, and maybe he didn't, but he pointed right at me. I heard Donna. And now it's looping back. I'm thinking in his dimension, he knew me. Yeah. But in his mother's dimension, he did not. So I run up to him and I say to his mother, he just said my name. Yeah. And the woman starts speaking another language. I didn't understand her. She probably was saying, crazy woman. I'm rolling my child away. But in that moment, I really wasn't a full-fledged, I'm all into this vibration thing. I'm only realizing right now, that child did know me, but not in this dimension, not in that dimension that his mother was in. He was viewing me from another dimension where he could speak. He knew my name, and he pointed to me and said, Donna. I'm just getting that right now. I'm just understanding that right now. That was years ago. That had to be at least 7 or 8 years ago. But you see how you remember things?
Yes, and that's been happening to me the past few days, where I'm remembering all of these moments where things happened, and things synchronized, and things that I set up for myself that I wasn't aware that I set up for myself.
Exactly. You set it up. Exactly. You set it up, and you made it. You made it. I like to call it arrows in the in-between life. We shot arrows that would land in our next life at different points. And as we move through life in this human form, when we hit that spot of an arrow, it's an aha moment. It's a different kind of awakening in that moment. But when you can start recognizing, here's seventh dimension, when you start recognizing like, oh, it's for me. Oh, it's an arrow. It's for me. I see it. I feel it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's powerful. Arrows.
That's wild. My friend is here in the Instagram live, Beverly. I think she's still here. She just did a reading for me 3 weeks ago, a tarot reading. And she said, you have a quiver full of arrows. And you're shooting them all up, waiting to see where they're going to land. And what's wild is that one of my Sabian symbols is a quiver filled with arrows. And I went, wow. So there's just...
you're viewing life from the in-between life. You're viewing what your soul already knows. Right? We've talked about this a million times. Past, present, and future is all happening right now. Past also means you're in between life, where only your soul is there. And that's what you're doing. That's what you're beginning to bring up in your awareness. It's always going to be awareness, but you're connecting it. You're connecting the arrows and connecting the dots. So let's just pause right now. I want to thank everybody on Instagram and YouTube. Everything will be recorded on both streams. I'll also probably add it somewhere else, I'm sure. If anybody has any questions, Wendy is handling Instagram questions. I'm going to be handling YouTube questions. So YouTube, if you just joined, thank you. That's why you see me looking up and looking down. I've got two things going on here. Any questions or comments, we will answer. We're going to continue now and talk about the dimensions and what we now perceive as the seventh dimension. Because like I said before, I was only living sixth. And typically I don't talk about it until I've totally experienced it. But clearly JFK was coming through during your podcast, my podcast with you. And he was clear, very clear in what seventh dimension was. And now we're just working it through. Jump on the train with us. Our new image, Wendy and I have this train going through. I've always seen the train. If Aditi is on here, Aditi's been a friend of mine, always talking about jumping on the train. Sometimes the train comes into the station and leaves the station. But don't worry, because what is that train doing? It's making a circle. It's always coming back to the station, always moving, all different stations. You can jump on at any time. It's not a bullet train. My image is the old choo-choo steam engine trains where you can run along and jump on. Come on the train, jump on the train with us. All right, Wendy, you ready to talk about 3, 4, 5 dimensions?
Yes.
All right.
Take it away.
All right, let's go. Third, we don't need to talk about. Third dimension, no good, bad, right, or wrong. There are a lot of souls that come into this world as physical beings. That's their job. That's their lesson, just to be here, do their job, which is literal, do their job, go to work, have a loving family, raise beautiful children if that's what they're meant to do. But they may not be doing this deep, intense spiritual work that I've been doing for about 30 plus years. They may not have specific, really big challenges. Their life is going on. That's fine. That's their job to anchor in that vibration. And that's fine because like we said, as more of us expand in the dimensions of oneness, 3D doesn't disappear. It's still here. We are just in a different vibrating in a different area. In a different area. No good, bad, right, or wrong. Different for our human structure in this time. So that's 3 dimension. Fourth dimension, we're looking at, I've got some challenges. Things aren't working out. I need to know more about whatever it's therapy or psychotherapy, whatever it is, counseling, whatever it is, whatever you need to start envisioning, Googling things. So fourth dimension, more about, I want to seek answers. Where are my answers? Just at that point of realizing 3 dimension doesn't work for me anymore. I'm in that 4th dimensional pull. And you may go back and forth. We talk about that a lot. Back and forth from 3rd to 4th. We don't need to say more about that. 4th dimension, pretty clear. You got questions. You're looking for answers. You may see a medium. You may see a session with Wendy. You may have a tarot card reading. Those things are all up for grabs. as you start your understanding, your awareness more of something other than yourself.
Yeah.
Fifth dimension, love. You start to recognize love. You may not start using the word dimensions anymore. You may start using consciousness. You may start being aware that you like this fifth dimension. You start to become an active participant in your life, recognizing that what you say and do affects not just yourself, but others. And you want to know more about that. In the fifth dimension, you may have souls from the fourth dimension. I coined this phrase a few years ago, called it the rift in the shift, which meant fourth dimensional consciousness was coming into fifth, not to be there, just to check it out. So if you can, like, an image of a head going through like a portal, just the head going through and looking around and saying, what's going on here in the fifth? And those of us in this fifth dimensional awareness, we don't feel the need to pull you in. We don't feel the need to push you out. But we do sometimes feel that rift. We might feel a little shaky in that, where our fifth dimensional oneness vibration is moving out and yours is colliding at the same time.
Yeah.
We just continually carry that love vibration so that when you stick your head in, when those souls stick their heads in, they feel love and they're like, hey, I like that feeling. What do I do with that?
And it's interesting. I also feel like when you're in that, when you're going through this fifth dimensional kind of phase, you start to notice how I'm trying to think of how to word this. I want to say how the other dimensions are affecting you.
Yes.
But it's really that you're still feeling into those and you haven't totally, it's almost like you haven't totally stepped into the fifth, or maybe it's that you haven't totally stepped into the sixth. I'm not sure which one. But the shakiness, the rift and the shift, I totally get what you're talking about, because that's where people start talking about boundaries and stuff like that, because it's like you're trying to figure out, what is this vibration? This feels so new. And why does this vibration, why do I feel like I get thrown out of this vibration by certain people or experiences, right?
Yep, exactly. You explained that beautifully. However, right, if you hold the love vibration, those things aren't going to move you. But that's more sixth. So yes, I spent a lot of time going fourth, fifth, sixth, sixth, fifth, fourth, fourth, fifth, sixth, but I was recognizing that. That's more sixth, right? You're recognizing what's not love and what is love.
Yeah.
What's coming from the other person or other event or situation, what's coming from me.
Yes.
You're recognizing all of that. And you still might be making it about the other person.
Because you're not recognizing that it's you yet.
That's seventh. Yep. You're not recognizing that it's you, but you're intrigued. You're intrigued. And you and I know now, after these last 5 days, I'm getting goosebumps, that there's a lot of downtime. This doesn't all just happen in one day. These are years, months, days. But I do know, just because of what you've been going through, Wendy, I do know that it's happening faster now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because like I said, Wendy's like texting me every day. This just happened. I'm like, again, welcome to my world. Welcome to the train. Jump on, because there is more need than ever for a love oneness.
Oh, yeah.
Based solely in love consciousness of love, oneness. So in that sixth dimension now, we go from fifth, we go to sixth. We start to accept more of our responsibility. We hear that personal responsibility a lot, right? It's not about the other person. If someone's bugging us, my first question is, am I doing the same thing to someone else?
Right.
Is it me?
Yeah.
And then I ask, is it the other person? And what what they're coming from, their fear, their question, their anger. And then I'll say, yeah, okay, it's definitely not me. I'm getting that. Do I need to keep speaking or being around that person or situation? Or am I just going to send love and be love? That's the only thing you can ever send to a situation or someone. You could only send love. Love will light up everything else. I can't.
Love is the answer.
Love is always the answer. Has always been the answer. We've known that for eons, generational eons, not just now. We're coming back. So 6th dimension. This came through from JFK very specifically 2 years ago. 6th dimension, we become the shift. We are not looking for the shift. We are not in the shift. We become the shift. And we step forward with that presence of love, that presence of knowing. We have become the shift so that those around us, situations around us, don't move us, don't shift us. We become the shift. We've accepted that everything is happening for our purpose. Our purpose. And that's what we're here for. But oneness is required for that. Yes?
Yep. Because you see that it's all of you. It's back to the circle. The circle represents the all. It represents the universe, God, source. And you realize that's you.
You realize that's you. I can't even go to the other thing that we talked about that day because it would take another hour. So we're in 6th dimension.
I know, and I have to.
Oh.
I've got to throw one thing out.
Okay, go ahead. Don't start me. Don't start me up. Go ahead.
Many Earths.
Many.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Many Earths.
Many Earth, which was my podcast. The title was Additional View of Earth, and explain what that picture has to do with many Earths.
Okay, so you have one Earth. These are many Earths.
Oh, I'm seeing it now.
We were talking about how we are each creating our own quote unquote new Earth. But really what you can bring it down to is that we're each the creator in our own creation. And we're doing this together. That's why you have to vibrate out.
7th dimension now. You just talked about it. Starts with you up until 6th. And for YouTube, she showed the picture of the tree of life again, which is all the circles intertwined, but it's so much happening in that one circle. So she's talking about the podcast that Linking to the Afterlife did, where my guest's mother came through as the ambassador of Earths with an S. And she started talking about different Earths. And Donna was blown because Donna's like, oh, and these words are coming out of my mouth and I'm hearing them for the first time, that there are many Earths. And I literally saw it as many different planets of other souls in different Earths. And then as I processed it with my sister, my producer, afterwards, she said, oh, I didn't see it that way. And I'm like, there's another way to see it? She said, yes, I was viewing it as many different Earths on this Earth. And I'm like, oh, you just explained dimensions.
Yes, and so that's what these are, Donna. The seed of life, there's 7 circles here. It's each dimension.
Yeah, that image is going to mean so much more to me now.
It means the meanings could go on forever when you start really diving into it. And the thing that came to me when I was looking at it was that it starts with one. It starts with the oneness. Yeah. And then the oneness divides into 2. And after we talked, I was thinking about how some people say it doesn't matter. I was thinking about the word matter. It doesn't matter. And I immediately heard my father-in-law's voice, because he always says, everything matters. So you have the materialist and the spiritualist, and you put them together, and you realize it's both.
Yeah.
No, it's everything and no thing. Yeah. You know? So the seventh is about not just knowing that, right? Like this, I guess the sixth would be knowing that. The seventh is living it, right?
Yes. 6 is about living those seamless present moments. Love that line, right? Seamless present moments where you don't have to analyze everything that just happened.
Yeah.
You don't have to analyze anything. You just move along. There's no more crap in your life. There's crap. It'll come up. But you have those moments of, wow, this is fabulous. Just move through that.
Yeah.
And until we talked that day, I wasn't viewing 7th at all. I didn't see 7th at all until we talked on your podcast that day. So in the 6, you recognize you can't love things more. You can only love more things. So remember we talked about when something isn't love. I don't want to use a term. I don't want to label it as good, bad, right, wrong, negative, positive, high, low. I don't want to use that word. I'm just saying it's not love. So the only thing I can do is send love to it.
And you know what that is? If it's something that's not love, it's only something that we haven't acknowledged. It's only something that is in the dark, because once you send love to it, you bring light to it, then you can know it. That's why we have to look at that within ourselves. That's why we do shadow work, or just observe. When you see somebody else do something and you take responsibility for it, that is you. You're bringing love to it. You're just loving all the parts of you, which is because you realize it's all you.
Yep, it's all you. You in the universe. In the universe. So 6th dimension, love. Only love. Love is love is love is love. We came here with love. Everything else piled on top of it. And now the awareness. Whatever point you're in your awareness. Wendy and I talk about this a lot. Is it just now? I said, no, it'll be every moment from now on, because everyone will eventually get their own awareness of consciousness and oneness. We can't push anybody or pull anybody. We can only keep doing our work. And people have done this work. There's a lot of sharing lately on Carl Jung. Was he a psychiatrist, psychologist? What did they call himself?
He was a psychologist.
Psychologist. Yeah. And I studied him a lot. What's that? And a mystic, right? In a word. If he called himself that in the public, we don't know that.
Yeah.
But he had some powerful statements, and I studied him way before I became a medium. When I was younger, a lot of books, I just kept reading and reading about him. And I recognized that he turned on that light for me. As I read and read, I'm like, didn't recognize I knew it. I'm only recognizing now as people start sharing more of his videos. I'm like, wait, I know that. I must have got that from him. He must have helped me turn on that light, which is what Wendy and I have been doing for each other the past few days. So now we got love, love, love. Everything's here for our purpose. Oneness has to be. 7th dimension, we start lowering that judgment of ourself. So we start saying it's not raising our vibration. It's expanding our vibration to create more. The oneness bigger, the oneness bigger, bigger. And as we expand this, it's not vibration anymore, it's consciousness. As we expand this consciousness, it creates this oneness about us where it's an even deeper level of it's only about me. And although I can help and share many things, I'm always alone with myself to figure those things out and process those things. 7th dimension is because of the love of self that we have, we expand us. we expand our oneness because of the love of self that we have for us, ourself, love of self. And we don't call it, I don't use the word ego. I don't use that. It's not selfish. It's, this is why I'm here. I came here to look for my arrows. I came here to expand my oneness so that I can join the full oneness, because it's not just one universe. It's one universe. One. We don't know how to use the word yet of who we truly are when we're in the oneness. We are the oneness. We don't go into it. We don't see ourselves in it. We are the oneness. We become the oneness in the oneness.
Yes. And that oneness, for me, the way that I understand it is you are just coming into harmony with creation, which is harmony with the structure of nature, because we are nature. We're not separate from it.
Yeah.
And that's what was put here initially, right? For us to use and play in, and also it is the manifestation of what you could say. It's the manifestation of the oneness. Everything is, but you can see the structures of where it came from, where all of this came from, just in nature. Yeah. Look at this leaf.
It's a beautiful leaf. She's holding up a beautiful leaf.
There's one vein in the middle of the stem.
Yeah.
So within this creation lies its creator.
Yes. Within.
It's one.
It's one. We are one.
But we branched off. Our consciousness had to branch off to get to know all of the aspects of itself. The dark, the light, the things we judge. It had to branch out to all of it to come back to one, to remember. It's gathering all of its different members, its memories, and remembering them to come back to where it began.
Because it's why we're here. It's just a play that we're in. It's a play that we're in. We chose to come here just to do this. By the way, Earth is going to survive, because is Earth really here? Or is it in just a dimension? Is it really here? Is it really physically here?
And I mean, Donna, we could go on for hours. There's so much that just comes up that I would love to add to this conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, it just keeps going and going and going, because just in the past couple days, I can see all the puzzle pieces I've been putting together throughout my life. It's not even the past 2 years since I quote unquote awakened. It's the puzzle pieces throughout my life that I see coming together. But they're the puzzle pieces of everything.
Yep. Everything led us.
Yep. We each hold that.
We each hold that. Everything led us here. My journey is different from yours, but it doesn't mean we're not on the same journey. We're on the same journey. And the earth, again, everything is alive on the earth. I've been vegetarian. I've been a raw foodist. I've been a fruitarian. I've been everything. I fasted for weeks and ate nothing. I've been everything. Each time I've done something has been for that moment of me. It's been for that moment of me. So for me to suggest right now to anyone, you would do better with this, you would do better with that. It's that person's ability to discern what in that moment would work for their body. I know what works for my body now, because age plays a factor also in many things. I once did a reading for a group where weeds came into my thought. Weeds were talking to me. Weeds. And I knew everything is life. I know this is soul. I know everything is soul. I get that. But I'd never spoken to weeds before. And I saw the weeds being plucked from the ground by a hand. So I said to the group, who here just did some weeding of their garden? And this woman raises her hand. She's like, oh, you see that? And I'm like, yes, I'm speaking to the weeds. And I said, the weeds are telling me, yes, you pluck them out, and they're okay with that. But they're saying what you did afterward, though, threw them for a loop, surprised them. I said, what did you do after that? She said, oh, I threw them out to the lawn where my husband was mowing the lawn. So they got mulched. And I'm like, that's okay too. She said, oh no, should I have not done that? And I said, no, they're just telling you that they're alive. And that's their purpose now, to mulch your ground, your grass, your lawn. But it surprised them. That's all they're saying. It surprised them because I don't know what they wanted. But
well, immediately when you started talking about this, I thought the only difference between a weed and a flower is that the judgment.
Yep. Yep. I'm saying I'm sorry all the time to everything. Well, if I pluck a rose and bring it in my house, oh, sorry. But I guess you were meant to do that because you're beautiful and you smell. It's always, this is what's here for us. It's here for us. So I'm not going to judge someone who eats meat. I'm not going to judge someone who only has vegetables. Those vegetables grew for you and died for you also. Just as animals do.
Are you sending it love?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Are you honoring it?
Yep.
Are you honoring what is here for us? Does it have meaning to you?
Yep, exactly. And everything that's prepared with love, right? Food, they say, prepared with love. What kind of love, though? Like for me, food was an unloving thing when I was growing up. I still have addiction to food. I've been anorexic. I've been everything. I feel like I've gone through many cycles with food. Still, it's a part of my life. It's in my head. I had to learn. I had to practice continually to love the food. How do I love it? I eat it slowly. I thank everybody that came in contact with that food, my plate, my silverware. I have to do that eating meditation because it is live. Everything is live. Everything is soul. But you said it very nicely. To love it all, to prepare it love, to grow it with love, whatever, whether it's animal, vegetable, or mineral, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter because it's all matter.
Doesn't matter because it's all matter.
Let's do some ending notes here. So my ending note would be to be conscious of oneness, to be the COO of your life, the consciousness of oneness. With consciousness, there's awareness. And to end it with not raising your vibration, but expanding the love that you already have within you, who you are, what you are, and expand it to every person, place, thing, event, situation. Doesn't mean you have to get involved. Just means expanding with love.
Yes. And I heard this when I woke up from a nap the day after we talked. Just radiate oneness. Radiate oneness. Radiate is expansion, like you said. And I want to recite what you wrote. That we talked about it in the podcast. I'm trying to remember what it was. There's a light in the sky.
I have it right here. I have it right here. Because I do this thing now on my social media. I've always done it. I automatic write with spirit.
That says it.
It definitely says it. But light was in the title, right? Light was in the title.
Yeah.
Find that one. I know you wrote it down because we talked about it in the podcast.
I know. I don't know where.
Oh, here it is. Got it.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, again for joining. Anybody has any questions? We're here. Questions or comments? We're going to close pretty soon. Okay, here's the quote from Spirit. Together, there is a oneness that lights up the sky. Allow the sky to shine in your eyes. And after I wrote that, a day later, we had the podcast, and then Wendy explained it to me this way because I didn't even see it when I wrote it. Go ahead, Wendy.
Well, I had written something that was, it was different, but it resonated the same way for me, which was that we're all sons of the sun. And we each have like our own little sun, our own little solar system. And so that is our oneness that we're radiating and shining out through the universe. But we have I had done a drawing before then. It was many pieces. This is how my mind works. Many pieces coming together. I'd done a drawing the day before of a pharaoh's face, and I was thinking about the eye of Horus and the eye of Thoth, and how the sun is in one and the moon is in the other, and the third eye connects both, so you can see the all, the oneness. Which brings me back to the circle, because it's that symbol of the sun, the circle with the dot in the middle. That's the third eye. There's all these symbols all around us, just reminding us.
Let's look at these two things on my wall behind me. Symbols.
I see the eye, and then what is that? Is that a moon or a sun?
I don't know, but the one here, that's something I bought probably 20 years ago. It just says love on it.
Yeah.
The one here, my daughter, she is the best gift giver in the world. She gets this for me. I don't know where she bought it, somewhere. And it is an eye at the bottom. And I believe it's some sort of night sky.
Yeah.
And it looks like the moon, a oneness, a circle. And even though my daughter, I know she listens to things I say, but she's not, I don't get to her and we don't talk about what you and I just talked about. That's not what we do. But we practice it in daily life. And she becomes, because of her knowing, I raised her, she becomes that catalyst for everyone in her life to experience love and expansion. So for people that are watching and they're saying, oh, I don't do what Wendy does, I don't do what Donna does, you don't have to. Live your life. Go along with your life with the knowing that you are one. We're all here in this together. This is oneness. This is what love is. It's oneness. So the signs are everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. And when you start to harmonize with the oneness, you start to see them everywhere.
Instant.
You reminded me of this super heart-opening moment I had one day, and I just it makes me tear up, actually. I just thought about all the people in my life that are doing good things, and all the people that have helped me remember who I am.
There you go.
And I just said thank you for being you.
That's so beautiful.
It's happening again.
She's crying. If everybody can't tell in YouTube land, she's crying. Tears of oneness.
All you have to do is just be you. That's all you have to do.
Remember you.
Who you are.
Remember you. Remember you. All right. Fabulous conversation. Fabulous conversation. Thank you to everybody. If it doesn't show up on my Instagram, Wendy will have it on hers, so be sure to follow her. Light always wins. It should show up on both. It'll be on YouTube, Donna Boyle Medium on YouTube. I'll probably try to scoot it to Wendy's YouTube at some point, see if she can share it on hers. If you have any questions, you can email us. I'm at dboylemedium@gmail. Wendy, do you want other ways to reach you?
Yeah, I'm lightalwayswinspodcast@gmail.com.
lightalwayswinspodcast@gmail.com.
And you can just message me on Instagram as well.
Mention on Instagram as well. It's all there. All right. Thank you guys again. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Thanks for all the likes. Thanks for the shares, the comments. Just keep moving this along. There are a lot of us out there.
Keep sharing. Yeah.
Expansion. Love you, Wendy. Thank you so much. Wendy's going to close out Instagram.
Yeah. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks, everybody. Again, take care.